from the very beginning of this catastrophe in Gaza that this was a sort of nail in the coffin of the effectiveness of the United Nations, which is failing. It just failed the Palestinians for decades because, instead of treating the question of Palestine as a political question that deserves to be solved according to international law, the question of Palestine has become both in its human dimension, meaning the refugees and the Palestinians living in the occupied Palestinian territory, but also in its territorial dimension, meaning the question of the occupied Palestinian territory. It has become it has become normalized that the conflict had to be managed as a humanitarian catastrophe, as humanitarian emergency, instead of as a political problem. So this is something that was already there and is the background to what I'm saying. But as of the 7th of October, the United Nations has failed the Palestinians and has failed as a system, I'm afraid, because it has not been able to work to preserve or to restore peace and stability. And we have seen the various attempts to have a resolution by the UN Security Council, which couldn't function as it should have because of the US veto. And even when the General Assembly have, with an overwhelming majority, voted for a ceasefire, nothing has happened. So it's a sort of a bottleneck. There is an executive system, multilateral system, that doesn't work because of the lack of will of a number of states. And this is also critical. See what happens also the second layer of failure, which is at the level of the legal system. Because since the very beginning, there has been this argument recited over and over as a mantra. Israel has the right to self-defense, which needs to be unpacked. And I think I've done my best to address this issue, attracting a lot of criticism. But the argument that I've brought forward has not been undone. It remains crystal clear that while Israel has the right to protect itself, its territory, and its citizens, it cannot invoke the right to self-defense, meaning the right to use, to wage a war, to use force in a legitimate way against the population it occupies.